Hi, and welcome to the second of a 7-part series, the Director of Surgical Services Recruitment Toolkit. This follows Chapter 1, which was an overview and called the Quick Start Guide. You do not need to watch Chapter 1 to get value out of this installment. Today's is called Doing the Search Yourself. Let's set the scene. You are part of talent acquisition, either for the hospital, surgery center, or this vertical within a health system. And you didn't ask for this. You had a lot of other things on your plate. But now that you've signed up or been signed up to do the Director of Surgical Services search yourself, it's time to knock it out. Let's begin. Last episode, we discussed that the most important thing to know about the Director of Surgical Services position is that it is the most heavily recruited role in the hospital. Now I want you to know that Directors of Surgical Services relocate for their jobs. A full 65% are filled through relocation. Their income, $155,000 on average, is just high enough that they are often the family breadwinner. This translates to a longer, more protracted effort with higher candidate attrition and a relocation to manage as well. The good news is that you can cut through the ambiguity and complexity by remembering that it is a numbers game. Here are those numbers. For one hire, it takes 2 finalists. For 2 finalists, it takes 5 active phone interviews. For 5 people to pass their phone interview, it takes 10 resumes that signal interest and look like a match. Keep those cups full. For you financial types, this is a balance sheet, not an income statement. By that I mean, you want to have 17 active live candidates at all times. Again, 2 candidates coming on site, 5 candidates that you have spoken to on the phone that you like, and 10 good resumes. How do you have such strong numbers? Begin with a long list of 130 people, and that can be a mix of active or unemployed and passive candidates that you reach out to via LinkedIn in-mails or from an ad on Indeed. Okay, so you know the target to start with, 130. This is the prospecting or sourcing phase. To get those numbers, ask your providers for referrals. Ask your staff for referrals. Post a job on AORN and Indeed. Sign up for a LinkedIn seat license. Don't bother with your local newspaper. Send all 130 prospects an email with a nicely produced graphical representation of your organization, the opportunity from the needs assessment, and the community from the World Wide Web. Find a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with modest price tag on Zillow and include a photo of that. I'll include hours for download in the show notes. It need not be produced by an advertising or marketing firm. If you can use the Outlook tables and Snippy tool, you'll be fine. Once all 130 targets have been identified and sent your introduction, you should have a harvest of at least 8%, that's the 10, so that you can begin scheduling the 5 phone interviews. Once you move 5 phone interviews, you need to backfill with 5 more good resumes. Keep the phone interviewing going, even when you find the inevitable winner that you want to introduce to your boss or bring on site. The 10-5-2 model is aspirational, of course. Every day, you'll be confronted with a 3rd good candidate that you want to bring on site, or your 5th phone interview will drop out. Before you can backfill them, your 4th will drop out. Don't panic. Use the Living Slate to give weekly updates to your hiring executive. We'll include a link to it in the show notes. It shows the 10 prospects in the left column. It has space for 5 in the middle column and room for the 2 site visits on the right. The Living Slate is both a document and your written contribution to a weekly meeting with your hiring executive. But what if your boss doesn't have time or inclination to meet with you weekly? Rubbish. If you use our Living Slate and put 10 people in the left column and hyperlink to their LinkedIn profile, you'll find that your requested weekly meeting will convert to the most fun interaction you've had all week. And that puts your search onto a path of weekly sprints of accountability, and you'll find a smoothly successful search process. Lastly, here are a couple words to the wise. 1, Directors of Surgical Services, whether in the prospecting, recruiting, or finalist stage, should be referred to as candidates, never applicants. Likewise, don't expect them to fill out an application. They won't do it, especially if they're working somewhere else. Second, beware applying a job tenure rule of thumb to screen out candidates. To complete this difficult recruitment, you want to screen in candidates. Rules of thumb, like you need to have the person have 3 straight years at each of their jobs, is a bar that too few candidates can clear. Again, you want to keep candidates in your process. That concludes Chapter 2 of the Director of Surgical Services Recruitment Toolkit. Our next chapter will cover how to find the right candidates. Good luck and keep up the great work.